right, guys, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're out there again. My name's Carson Cook, guys. Thank you so much for turning into Merchant Services Slayers. Today, we're gonna change up the videos just a little bit. I talked about a little bit kind of in our intro video about how we're actually gonna be doing some videos more now on lifestyle, travel tips, stuff like that. So when you do build up a pretty big book of business that you can actually put these things to use in every day, we do a lot of different traveling all over Southeast Asia, Europe, so on and so forth, and do all sorts of different things with our book of business. But there are some things that we've seen over the last 10 years, some tips that we can kind of give you. So today I'm gonna give you 5 travel tips. Now these are travel tips, not investment tips. We'll be doing a video probably on that, how to invest abroad. We do have a lot of people on the page that do very well for themselves, right? And there's some things and pitfalls that can actually help them, tips that we can give them that will help them save a lot of money as well as make money along the way. So first things first, travel tips. So guys, number 1 is that when you're traveling, no matter whether you're traveling with your wife or your kids, if you do live in the United States or you're from somewhere that does this, you're actually allowed to actually carry 2 different passports, okay? One is a normal passport, one is what we call a travel passport. They used to be issued for 4 years at a time, and you have one that's always a 10-year. Not a lot of people understand or know that there is a major value of having 2 passports in your name, okay? So you wanna check with your country. Most people that are watching this from the United States, but we are allowed legally to have 2 different passports. The value in this when you travel is just in case if you lose one, you have a better shot at the embassy. If you're trying to kind of extend a visa, okay, if you're on international travel, that's one thing that like really does help, because if you're trying to submit one passport to get a visa to have it come back, you'll still have one there. If you're gonna be renting motorcycles or cars or, you know, luxury cars, whatever, they will require sometimes you have an ID, and it's always good to have 2 different passports, especially when you travel. Now the reasoning behind that is because we like to go to countries we're probably not supposed to go to, and we have other countries that don't want you to go there, so on and so forth, but file for it. It's worth the extra $100, especially if you're traveling with your kids or your wife, make sure they also have 2 different passports. It's a safety precaution, and most people don't know they can do that. Another thing, SkyScanner, okay, we're gonna talk about that right now, is using SkyScanner. It doesn't matter if you do fly privately, you fly locally, you fly business class, you wanna use SkyScanner if you can to do some research, because even if you do have business class tickets, right, you're gonna get better deals on that. And we've seen differences of like sometimes of a $10,000 flight, when you go in SkyScanner, it could be $2,000, same price. So even if you have like your wife and your kids, okay, you wanna make sure that you can get better deals by going on SkyScanner, so doing some research. Even if you have a concierge, have them look into that tool too. Another thing is that you also, when you go, you wanna make sure that you have at least enough US cash. So even right now, if you have a small wallet and you have local cash and you've done your research, make sure you have at least $200 to $300 and $100 bills hidden somewhere in your wallet for emergencies. Now, a lot of people don't think that this is gonna happen, but even in Europe and safe countries, you are gonna need to have some local currency, and the US currency is the best currency to actually have. Again, that's a super important thing. Once you get back from the airport, another thing is too, is if you don't have this pre-set up for you, if you're not flying with a concierge or you're not flying with anyone, you wanna make sure that you get this done too, is you want to, in the airport, exchange that money, then directly go over, if you can, right to the counter to get a SIM card, okay? Now there's a massive value to this, whether you're doing transportation, you need to call your local taxi service, for example, local transportation, or if you've rented a nice car or a vehicle, so on and so forth, or a limo or whatever, you know, you wanna make sure that you have that SIM card just in case. Some crazy stuff's happened at the airport. It'll save you a ton of time if you just knock these things off the list. Then that brings me to number 4, is make sure you do some research on the local transportation. So if you have rented a Mercedes or a you know, whatever, I know that Dubai, we rent a lot of cars when we go there, but we have it set up already so that when we get to the airport, it's boom, we exchange our money, we go get our SIM card, we go right there, the vehicle's waiting for us. It's so much more convenient than dealing with local transportation if you can afford it. If not, then you wanna make sure that you always do some research for what app that they use, whether it's Uber, Grab, we use Patao in Nepal, there's also N-Driver that's all over, but do some local research. That way you can book those cars and you don't make that mistake at the airport. And then the last and final tip, guys, that I'm gonna probably give you, and this is important for a few different reasons, is that you wanna make sure that you pack light, okay? Packing light is super important. Again, even traveling with family, okay? And even if you have allowance for 6 or 7 bags, okay, or whatever, and you're flying privately or business class, still doesn't matter. It's always important, even as a family, to pack light, because in Asia or Europe or South America or wherever you do like to travel, things can happen very quickly as a foreigner or as a traveler, and you might need to move quick. And it's always easier, instead of having your wife have all of her 18 Gucci bags and this and that, or all of your golf clubs and stuff like that, or whatever, or even if you're backpacking, okay, it's important to pack light all the time, because you never know what's gonna happen, and you always are gonna be on the move. It's always better to be nice and quick, especially if you're gonna change hotels or anything that you need to, so on and so forth, quickly, but it's always easier to pack light, even when you're flying business or privately. So that's pretty much all I've got for travel tips. Join me on the next video where we're gonna actually talk about how to make foreign investments and some things to actually avoid, things to look out for, so on and so forth. So tune in.